We are wrestling.
We are wrestling.
Don, D-O-N?
Dick, got it.
Make sure to subscribe, baby.
We are wrestling.
What is up? We are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide. I'm the host, the best one, Donnie, here with...
What is going on, everybody? Danny Huckins here, man. 1/3 of We Are Wrestling, and we got the Asian sensation over there looking like the Asian Ozzy Osbourne in the motherfucking building. What's going on, Ben?
What's going on, guys? The other third of We Are Wrestling. How you guys doing today? It is going to be exciting. But before we start, Don, what do they got to do?
Well, what you gotta do, if you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already, and you're not a part of the thousands of subscribers, the best way to support us is by hitting that subscribe button now, turning on the post notifications. Videos be coming out of nowhere, like an RKO, and of course, you already know, the grind is real. And what are we going to be talking about this week, Ben?
We are going to be talking about some of the best superstars that had second runs in WWE. That is what we're going to be talking about.
Not just
today.
WWE.
In general. Wrestling in general. Okay. Well, I was under the impression that it was WWE runs, so I only thought about that shit. So I could definitely provide in that. But we're going to be talking about second runs in general and to see if it really, kind of broadened the scope of their said careers and furthered it, or if it flopped. So, guys, who do you guys want to start with? There's so much to unpackage.
How about this? Let's let Danny decide who we talk about first.
I'm interested. All right, I'll bite.
I feel like
Start slow. We gotta ease in. We can't just fucking no fucking.
this
lose
is gonna be
bundle
this.
fist.
This is gonna be sort of slow,
Okay.
but I would have to go with somebody like Jeff Hardy. Nobody's had more, returns than him, pretty much.
That's a good subtle start. All right, I can dig that because even his return, where it popped off, it was very simmered. Like it built very nice. The pace and the storytelling was there. Because you could definitely tell in his first run, especially going on a singles run, he was definitely, I wouldn't say an amateur, but definitely still naive in the ring. If that means still kind of stiff, still had some ways to go. He wasn't the confident flyer that we know today. Unfortunately, took some turns there. But regardless of the fact, his second run, when he came back in 2006, really catapulted his career and made it kind of showed that he could stand tall on his own. And luckily, with creative at the time, Freddie Prinze Jr., I believe, was the first one to actually give him the big push for the world title when they really weren't sure about it. But again, his second run really, again, launched his fucking career and made him stand tall as an individual wrestler.
You know something?
Exactly.
I got to 100% agree with you on that because Jeff Hardy, he wasn't one of those wrestlers that got injured or had to retire or take time away from wrestling. Jeff Hardy was one of those guys that was, a tag team specialist. And then, he went off. He did some stuff in TNA in the early days as a singles competitor because Matt, was still in WWE. And then, he came back in WWE as, a mid-card wrestler and then became a main
Enigma.
eventer.
That's when he became the Enigma. He went from the fucking some kind of daredevil to an Enigma, bro. Like he became the heat of the crowd after a while, man. Dude went through so many trials and tribulations and really crafted. It's almost kind of like a very subtle version of Cody Rhodes' story where he kind of went out, made himself a star, came back and stole it. And fucking absolutely provided and delivered for the crowd, man. So he had one of the best second runs that really, again, made him the legend he is today.
And I don't know, who else is on the list or whatever that we're going to be talking about today.
We got so many.
But
yes.
When it comes to Jeff Hardy, he's the only one that's left and made big returns in multiple companies, with whether it's TNA, now it's AEW recently, WWE. He's pretty much reinvented himself. And I feel like when he first left WWE back in 2002, he was just so used to being partnered with Matt, and then when they sort of split them up, he didn't know which direction to go. You know what I mean?
At that point, though, like, when you get split from a tag team that you've been known for being a part of your entire
Especially
career,
when it's your brother, man.
exactly, you don't know anybody else better than your brother, and vice versa. So like getting split up from a popular tag team and then standing on your own, it's like an identity crisis, man. You're panicking.
Well, I think creative, here's what I think. I think creative around that time when they split them up, they saw more superstar in Matt Hardy than Jeff Hardy. Which is why, Matt Hardy had the version 1 character.
He wanted to step
while,
away from Jeff
was, competing for like the hardcore title and stuff on Raw.
Exactly. Yeah. And I feel like for Matt, they definitely crafted more of a character build there for him. Where with Jeff, it's just they kind of were like, all right, he was the more daring of the two brothers, so let's see what he can just do in the ring. Rather,
you need
than,
to understand
let's build
Jeff.
him as a superstar. Exactly. And Jeff needed to understand Jeff at the time as well. And I think he didn't have a firm grasp on that. But when he left, he really honed his craft, and really got to learn the ropes and, the mic skills, so to speak. And he came back as a complete brand new repackaged version of Jeff Hardy. It was like a breath of fresh air when he came back.
That and Jeff Hardy, like, you have to remember when this dude started out in WWE, he was 16. He lied about his age or whatever.
Yeah.
So when
enhancing talent.
When he left WWE, he was like 23, 24 at the time.
He was still young.
And he felt like he was invincible, he did pretty much anything he could think of to try and fit in with the boys. And, I don't think he had that time to really mature and to grow. And that led to a lot of his demons.
Absolutely.
Well, something that Matt Hardy did say in a recent podcast that I, did see the article on. I don't know if it's true or not, but it did come from Matt Hardy. He said that Jeff Hardy's demons, he felt like it wasn't wrestling that caused it. It was when his mom died. That's when Jeff Hardy started to,
really
change.
Go down. Absolutely, because his mom was such a huge figure in his life, in terms of the person he is today. So, that I feel like that'd be a tremendous downfall.
He was only 10 when that happened. So,
oh yeah, dude.
Matt Hardy was 12. So.
Yeah, and it just comes to show how close they were,
But he definitely bounced back in 2006 and had a wonderful run for those 3 years.
He came back and confronted Edge the night that he debuted the Rated R WWE title.
Yep. That was his big pop, and that was his first rivalry back on the main roster.
That was actually in Connecticut.
Yep, Hartford.
That was in Connecticut. Either Hartford or Stamford, I can't remember, but I know it was in Connecticut.
Hell fucking yeah, dude. Connecticut is just godly for anything entertainment, music, wrestling, you name it. It's just godlike.
And then he had a good run, won the IC title. I think he had another shot at the tag titles with Matt.
Yep.
He did win the World Tag Team Championships with him.
Yep.
And then he went on to win the WWE title and then the World Heavyweight title.
He had a prestigious second run, man.
Then he had that loser leaves WWE match with CM Punk in 2009. And a couple of days after that match is when he got busted and did some jail time.
Mm-hmm.
He had a long
after got released, and then went back.
And then
he
went back to TNA in 2010.
Yep. So that was a fucking prestigious run, though, because that was the run that really defined his career, because he fucking just moved up the fucking chain so 100%. Fast. Not 100%. Everybody just comes back and immediately gets into the fucking the world title picture.
And it's not like he jumped right into the world title picture either.
No, he fought for it.
Started from the bottom and worked his way to that moment.
But the moment he came back,
which makes it more prestigious.
And the moment he came back, it was known that was the direction he was going, because the first person he confronted was Edge, but then went up the card entirely. But they showed it, and that's when WWE was still very good with long-term storytelling, because they were like, all right, this is where we're going to end, but we're going to go back here, work all the way the fuck up, and have it come full circle, and it delivered. Absolutely delivered.
It paid off. So now somebody I definitely want to talk about, I feel like,
let's go,
is somebody that had to retire in WWE, and he was luckily able to come back, and that is Bryan Danielson. Daniel Bryan.
Absolutely.
I would love to talk about him.
Honestly, it's gonna be kind of sad to say this, but you guys are probably gonna be able to add a lot more to this than I really am. Because
Hey, that's
shockingly,
fine.
this is gonna sound horrible, but I don't mean it in a bad way. I'm not a huge Daniel Bryan fan or Bryan Danielson fan. Like, I respect Bryan Danielson. I love anything that he's been a part of, but it's not somebody that I've caught up with, like, history-wise. So I can't really, like, judge a lot of his early work, too, when he first debuted in WWE, when he had the underdog story and, you know, he got both titles at the same time, became undisputed world champion. You know, I missed all of that because that's during the time that I took the break from watching wrestling because of the PG era.
And you
He
see, here's
started
the thing
out
that's
in,
going to suck about that is if you weren't there in that moment with Daniel Bryan, you're not going to understand.
And that's what I'm saying.
I respect that you came on here and you said
Yeah,
that
dude.
right away.
I
because
just wanted
lots
to be
of people, you know, wouldn't
transparent
do
about
that.
it. I just wanted to be transparent about it, like, going in. But if you guys want to talk about it, anything I can add in, I will.
So, I never watched Bryan Danielson's like independent work, like when he was in Ring of Honor and stuff like that.
Him and Paul London tagged for a while because they went to the same wrestling school along with Brian Kendrick.
Yeah. But I'm hoping that once TK finalizes a deal, they get a streaming service. You bet your ass I'm going to be getting it. I'm going to be doing a lot of research, especially when it comes to the Ring of Honor product. But Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson now, for those of you that watch AEW and you're unfamiliar, he started out in WWE in 2010. I believe he was part of the newcomers when NXT first came to be. And if I remember correctly,
kind of like a competition show, right?
Game
Yeah.
show.
Okay.
And Donnie, if I remember correctly, you can probably let me know if I'm correct or not. I believe his coach was The Miz.
Yes, his pro, because in season 1 of NXT, we had rookies and we had pros.
Yeah.
And The Miz was Daniel Bryan's protege. Made some great entertainment, though. I will say that.
And then I remember when Daniel Bryan first got on the main roster, they started to have a little bit of a feud back and forth, and it
For the
led to
U.S. belt.
It led to some pretty good matches, I will say.
That's the thing, like, I want to, the reason why I want to, give a lot of respect to, Daniel Bryan is because of the thing that we have and why we do this talk show and why, we create wrestling content on the We Are Wrestling channel. It's the passion.
Absolutely.
Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson is one of the most passionate professional wrestlers that has ever been in this sport. And, he's been doing it for so long. That has been his entire life.
Have you seen his dark match? I think it was on Raw or SmackDown back in like 2001, 2002. It's fucking weird, bro. He's like a 20-year-old fucking scrawny kid.
It is weird. But back to what I was saying, Bryan Danielson was one of the most passionate guys in the business. And for him to freaking go out with an injury to end, his career. He had to retire in like the highest point in his career when he won both of those championships. He had to retire. And that is just so sad to see that happen. But for him to, keep continuing to try to fight, to get cleared by doctors, and to go on that second run that he had in WWE, even going heel, which is crazy because he was one of the biggest baby faces in WWE. And he went against Kofi at Mania.
Didn't Orton end up taking both the double belts after Daniel Bryan retired?
After he retired...
Wasn't it Orton?
Ooh, I don't think it was Randy Orton, no.
Okay.
No, I know what Ben's referencing.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel Bryan was in a WWE title match, and Triple H was the referee, and Triple H ended up screwing Daniel Bryan. Orton cashed in, and Orton won the title after Bryan.
Gotcha.
And that's what created the Authority, which led into, a crazy storyline all the way to that WrestleMania, where Daniel Bryan beat Triple H in the beginning of the night to be added to the triple threat match with Batista and Orton.
Remember that
he had that moment.
Remember that scene on Raw or whatever where Daniel Bryan sat in the ring and he had all the fans or whatever, like a bunch of people coming over the barricade.
One of the best moments in the PG era. Just want to put that out there.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But that's the thing that makes it so crazy. Like, with the second run, he got the WWE Championship. He went into WrestleMania as the biggest heel, going against Kofi Kingston, who, was over as fuck because everybody wanted him to win the WWE title.
He said,
and for, Daniel Bryan to just go on this last run to really close the chapter in WWE, I think, couldn't have been any better.
No, facts. Absolutely.
And now he's back doing what he loves, and that is professional wrestling in AEW.
And we have to sit here and appreciate Daniel Bryan's creativity, especially when it comes to, like, vegan and vegetarianism or whatever it is. And, he had that custom-made championship belt made out of, like, wood or something like that.
Heel Bryan.
Red beard.
Yeah. That was awesome stuff.
Yeah. That was
very underrated
creative
in his career because a lot of people don't talk about that run, which I feel like definitely
it
I
annoyed
need
the
to
shit out of me, but that's
it.
good storytelling. Because if it actually gets a nerd,
he did
out
his
of
job.
he did his job. So yeah, that was definitely one of the most underrated storylines for sure.
But it's cool though to see him in AEW, wrestling
for sure.
and being a part of the Blackpool Combat Club. I know he's still dealing with some little injuries here and there, but it's great to see him back in the ring, at least doing what he loves.
How was that seeing him? You're the only one that I don't think me and Ben have gotten a chance to see him live.
The crowd was electric. It was beautiful. Everybody just going, yes, yes, yes. And pretty much chanting, fuck him up, Brian, fuck him up. Let me tell you, an AEW crowd might have 4,000 people compared to like a WWE crowd that would have 10,000. But I'm sorry to say this, but freaking Raw last Monday was absolutely phenomenal.
Absolutely.
Great show start to finish under Triple H after SummerSlam. But the one thing that sucked was that fucking crowd. The only thing that sucked. That crowd, they should never go back to Houston ever again after that shit.
Yeah,
but let me tell you, 4,000 people in AEW crowd is a lot louder than 10,000 in WWE, and that's pretty fucking sad.
Yeah, dude, because that Raw genuinely felt different, especially once Ciampa picked up the win. I'm like, dude,
bro, this is perfect. This is perfect. Somebody that left and returned, Triple H. He's now heading Monday night for WWE Creative, man.
Ooh, a different approach here.
Okay.
Because this
Danny out
isn't,
here with the
this
smoke.
is going from being a wrestler who, never wanted a real job to being now
the corporate
head of
boss,
creative.
basically. The dude that makes the world go around just by good ideas. This dude fucking got it down, man. And boys, we are currently sitting in the middle of everything that we've ever wanted, and it's slowly starting to craft and change. And we're
2.2 million on Raw.
That is
this has been the
huge,
first
bro.
time in 2 years.
I'm sorry, but Tony Khan must have been shitting his pants when he saw that viewership. He had to have been like, dude, that is a huge, but that is still a huge fucking jump, though. That is a needle mover right there. That is needle moving.
But here's why I disagree with the Tony Khan statement, because Tony Khan is not trying to compete with WWE.
I know this.
Tony Khan he wants what's best for professional wrestling.
I get
and
that.
He's actually
100.
very happy Triple H is,
100.
running it now.
Oh, 100. But okay, I'll digress. I digress. 100. But
stop trying to make a war happen when there's no war
happen. I'm just doing this to get a rise out of Danny. You know this. It's never directly intended. Only at Danny.
I hate to say this, bro, but if this keeps up, I might end up becoming a bigger fan of WWE again than I am of AEW.
And you want to know what you call that, Ben? You call that a bandwagon.
Yeah,
Danny, you are a fucking bandwagon.
Yep, he is the bandwagon, dude. He's the fucking mule. He's the one that's pulling the whole fucking wagon. Are you kidding me?
I bet you when TNA got Jeff Hardy in 2010, you were bandwagoning TNA.
Oh, dude, he was marking the fuck out. Yeah, look at him. Look, he can't even deny it. Look at him. He can't even fucking deny it. Oh, this motherfucker. But yeah, no, absolutely. Like Triple H's return. If we're
wait, hold on. You want to know what we call a bandwagon though? We call that a fucking snake.
Yep.
That is you right there. You will freaking
None
sliver
of his
freaking to what's more popular.
None of these We Are Wrestling episodes are gonna fucking age well at all, especially for him. Especially for him, they're not gonna age well at all.
Bro, I can't believe this. I can't believe this is episode 26, man. Off topic,
Cancel
but-
culture is gonna hold you accountable, Danny boy.
I hope you get the shit canceled out of you, you fucking bitch.
That's
But,
what I have to say to cancel culture.
No, if we're really talking about second runs in WWE, this would definitely qualify as Triple H's second run because it's in a completely different standpoint. Obviously, boys, as we know, we're again sitting in the middle of everything that we've ever wanted, and change is happening. This is very good. We obviously know that the Black and Gold NXT brand was probably the most thriving thing that WWE had in product in years, and now the man behind it is running the whole fucking show. So we're going to be seeing the return of a lot of not only banned words, banned moves, the returns of a lot of fucking wrestlers. One that is seriously fucking teasing it is Killer Cross, which I'm really fucking stoked about.
Oh, yeah, he's been tweeting with the hourglass.
He is really fucking, and that's his end game, is he wanted to end up back there, but now with Triple H under his ring, whoo! Oh, can you imagine that Universal title reign? It's gonna be ridiculous. It's gonna be fucking
Triple
ridiculous.
H.
That is a dude I can see throwing off reigns.
Here's the thing that makes Triple H and this new WWE pretty exciting. Long-term storytelling. Because if you have not checked out Logan Paul's podcast, Impulsive,
I did.
That interview with Triple H.
I watched the whole thing front to back.
It was awesome. Such an awesome interview. And Triple H understands the business. He understands what we are wrestling maniacs and the casual fans want. Mm-hmm. And that is what's missing right now in wrestling, is the great storytelling.
I also recommend people watch it because maybe they'll get a different perspective when it comes to Logan Paul and, surrounding Logan Paul's involvement in WWE. So,
well, if you're not a wrestling fan, I think Triple H in this freaking interview fucking convinced some people to become wrestling fans.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because a lot of people don't understand the sport that we freaking are obsessed with.
Yeah, dude. And Kat Dennings. Ooh, damn. Sorry, I damn.
Don't blow your load too quickly.
I already did. Sorry, man.
Come on, we don't want to lose that too.
Yeah, but I do actually really want to fucking talk about another superstar that has had an amazing second run, and that is the Scottish Warrior, Drew McIntyre.
Oh.
I want to talk about Drew McIntyre.
Actually, that does kind of work out because towards the end of his WWE run, he was getting out of shape. And
he was definitely, this is definitely like a redemption arc story for his second run. So, redemption, and it's like a part 2 redemption run too, because we're gonna get there. But
what was that group with Heath Slater? The 3-man band, or
yep,
3MB, baby.
Yeah, 3MB. Yeah. So originally when Drew McIntyre got called up, he got called up very early, and Vince McMahon handpicked him because he was super impressed with his in-ring ability, his charisma and all that. But the pressure of that made him fold heavily, which unfortunately made him lose the momentum in his push entirely until he was put into 3MB, which all of those superstars in that group thought it was a big fucking joke, and all of them were absolutely extremely down in the dumps. And eventually led to McIntyre's release. And when he came back in NXT, he absolutely dominated. He was Drew McIntyre again. He was the Scottish psychopath.
Can I cut you a little bit short right there?
Absolutely.
After he got released by WWE,
I'm just giving flash forwards.
I watched some of his work with the independents when he left
fucking
WWE.
Ridiculous, dude. His resurgence was ridiculous.
I just want to say this man literally went from having friggin' dad bod to being shredded.
It was another fucking big cast.
Drew Galloway needs to be talked about before this new Drew McIntyre, because the stuff that he did all over the UK, the stuff that he did in Impact Wrestling at the time, he showed that he could be a main event guy.
Absolutely.
So when he went to NXT, he absolutely killed it, and now friggin' he's killing it in WWE.
Yeah, and he fucking carried the entire Thunderdome and Pandemic era on his fucking shoulders, and that's another thing when I was talking about another second run inside of a second run. He got absolutely screwed by COVID. man. He got his moment stolen from him, which I feel like this is why it's going to be so huge at Clash of the Castle when he
Needs to
wins.
happen. It
When he
needs to
wins
happen.
the fucking Universal title or both belts, it is going to be a huge fucking deal because this moment has been 2 years in the making, if not 13 years in the making. He was supposed to have this years ago, and now we're finally seeing the dawn of Drew McIntyre while Roman Reigns is obviously going MIA for God knows however long. But I'm excited because this run has been everything because they started him in the tag team scene with Dolph Ziggler for a while. And then they moved into his singles competition, and his official face turn was the Royal Rumble of 2020, in which he was crowned victorious.
Man, that pop from that crowd when he friggin' gave the Claymore to Lesnar.
That's how you knew he was winning. That's how you knew immediately he was winning. The moment he fucking knocked Lesnar out of the ring, that was it. Sold him entirely.
That was one of my favorite. I'm not even gonna lie. That was one of my favorite Rumbles, low key, like in the PG
It was
era.
perfect, dude. Absolutely, dude. It was perfect. You had Edge's return that fucking night. You had an amazing finish to the
Lesnar
show.
dominating like until like number 15
And
came
bro,
out.
the final four were fucking lit too. And Edge was in the final four with Roman Reigns, Drew McIntyre, and I believe Randy Orton.
Bro, am I the only one that has Drew McIntyre's old theme song on fucking repeat sometimes?
Yes. That is one thing I really
Broken
miss
Dreams?
about McIntyre is the Broken Dreams. I cannot
Shaman's
stand the
Harvest, I
fucking
think, is the name of the
bagpipes.
band.
Shaman's Harvest.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
Love
think
that song.
I have a feeling that song's going to be making a resurgence at Clash of the Castle. Quote me.
I hope.
Because now with that
I love
creative
that
freedom,
song.
I have a feeling that's gonna be doable because he's been wanting to do it for years, and that would be the perfect to do it if he's gonna win it. 100%. That would be the best song to come out to, and it would feel big. It would feel like a popped atmosphere, and that dude's gonna look fucking absolutely incredible that night, dude. I am so stoked for Clash of the Castle. It's different, you know. It's absolutely
Which we
fucking
will
different.
be doing a live watch along once again.
Abso-fucking-lutely, and I'm be explosion my pants the entire time, Chris. But yeah, no, his second run has been absolutely incredible so far. I'm really stoked to see him shoot for the stars again,
And
his big moment.
you know something? In his first run when he got brought up with, Broken Dreams, like I would go to these live events as a kid with my dad.
Yes.
And my dad, like, he liked wrestling, but like he wasn't like into it like I was. And like that was the one guy for him that always stood out was Drew McIntyre. And he always said, this guy has it. Like he definitely could be a world champion. And that was, before friggin' he became, the Scottish friggin' warrior that he is now.
Yep.
Am I the only
I've
one that
always
feels
seen
like
the potential in him too.
Am I the only one that feels like they should have changed the finish of that Mania match to and then once everything started to open up or whatever at the following Mania or whatever it is, they should have had you win then?
Nope. It's all about timing. And this is his time now.
Absolutely.
And if they do not let him win this at Clash at the Castle, they are going to be regretting this. They're going to regret this decision.
Absolutely.
He needs this. This is
close,
his time.
To close out Drew McIntyre, I do want to say that I want him to have a prosperous reign after winning at Clash of the Castle. And then when he loses it, I want to see a Drew McIntyre heel turn.
Too bad
Here's
we can't
the thing.
book
As long as, like,
Heart
if
of Wales.
Here's the thing. Here's what I got to say about
especially
the
winning it in the
McIntyre
UK. That'd be
heel.
fucking huge.
Here's what I got to say about that. I feel like we need to keep Drew McIntyre face until it becomes bland.
That's what I'm saying.
Like his run in the Thunderdome. It became a little bit bland. And maybe that's because there was no crowd, but it was getting a little repetitive.
It's kind of hard to be babyface when you don't have that fan reaction.
Yeah.
But he's got that reaction. Like, look at SummerSlam. The crowd was
he does now, but when it was just them in the performance center or gymnasium, whatever it is, during the pandemic, it's hard. It was very hard for all the babyfaces to get over it because they didn't have that fan reaction.
Yeah.
That whole fucking era was absolutely awkward. So when I say, he carried that era on his shoulders, I
Oh, he
don't say
did.
that lightly at all. That it's hard to do, especially with no crowd around you.
I would say him and New Day.
No, I'm gonna say Edge as well because his promo saved it.
Honestly, I'm gonna be honest here. Anybody that competed during the Thunderdome era or like even AEW and empty arenas, they all freaking carried it throughout. And like
Absolutely.
the ones that actually were there going through it and, wrestling in front of a freaking LED screen and your peers in AEW, those are the ones that carried it. They all did that.
I do also want to give an honorable mention to Rhea Ripley during the Thunderdome era because she was she was called up and immediately got thrown into the title scene and won. So to be able to be a rookie from NXT to carry a women's title during an era where there is no fans and still be over is impressive. So I just wanted to shout that out there.
I still haven't really felt like she's been booked, except for like obviously recently with Triple H. But once she was like different in NXT, and then she transitioned over to the main roster, and there was something off about her. They didn't treat her right.
I digged it when she was women's champion because she was still very much so the Rhea Ripley from NXT. Now it's a little harder to buy in for me now. I feel like she doesn't fit in Judgment Day.
Here's the thing. I got to agree with Danny on this one because I did, watch NXT Black and Gold brand with Rhea, and I think that, I think a lot of people that went from NXT to the main roster, it was a transition because you went from being with Triple H, who you could tell when these wrestlers right now are cutting these promos, they're a little bit more looser than they were.
Mm-hmm.
Going from that to working with Vince McMahon, who, has a certain way of doing things, and it feels like, you're a robot. Of course there's going to be freaking changes, and of course, you're not going to be good at first.
No, of course.
McIntyre was with freaking Dolph Ziggler at first.
Did you guys also...
Didn't make sense to me.
Speaking of Triple H's era so far, did you guys notice that they don't censor the words asshole or bitch anymore?
Thank God.
Bro, did you hear? I didn't catch it at first glance, and then I went back and watched it when Seth Rollins was facing Montez Ford, and he was going up on the top rope. He was like, "Stay down, you fucking bitch."
Yeah, dude. Seriously, they're going back in, bro. Like fucking Bianca Belair said thoughts on live TV. I've never been so happy in my life, and I hate that fucking word. I was like, "Who?" She said thoughts. Ooh. Sorry, I just had to put that out there.
Okay, so here's another one I want to talk about.
Talk to me, baby girl.
The best in the world, CM Punk.
He had a second run in WWE.
No,
in wrestling, man. This man walked away from it, and he came back.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, I had a slow moment there. I had a Danny moment.
That was one of the saddest moments in wrestling when he left the business.
It was when they fired him on his wedding day.
Yeah, he was definitely not Vince McMahon's baby boy after a while. He was definitely Vince McMahon's biggest enemy, if not still is.
I will say he had some of the best promos against Vince McMahon. Remember the contract?
Oh, that was some, dude. If anything, that was some of his best work. Period. But yeah, I would definitely say that you can definitely see that it was a resurged love for the business and the passion for wrestling going to AEW. You could tell that was an emotional transition coming back as well because he thought he was never going to do it again just because, once you lose passion in something that you love for so long and to be away from it for so long almost feels like a swan song, a bittersweet moment at first. It's very, it tweaks with you a little bit. But you can definitely tell in just his storytelling on AEW now that he is fully, 2 feet, like he dove into it again. And it feels like some of his best work there is. And you can tell he's having fun with the business again. And it's not tense. It's not just for the money. Because if it was for the money, he'd be back in WWE currently.
Oh,
but
absolutely.
He's back for the passion of things. So you can tell that everything he's doing is authentic. And he's doing it great with anybody that he's faced off against so far. It can be anybody from a low card to mid card to fucking top scene. He's fucking killing it. He's doing what he loves again, and we're seeing some old school CM Punk shit. We got to see him in his ROH fucking getup again for one of the pay-per-views.
Oh, that was awesome.
Shit was
Such
fucking nuts,
a
bro.
awesome moment.
Ben, I want to ask you about something, and it is in regards to CM Punk.
What up?
Donnie already gave his thoughts or whatever, and I think me and Donnie did talk about it on the side. CM Punk during Comic-Con this year,
Yeah.
he made some comments about, Sasha and Naomi's walkout and how WWE completely disrespected them. But Brock Lesnar did the same exact thing pretty much. He came back, but he did the same thing, and they didn't mention anything about it.
AKA Michael Cole.
I just wanted to get your thoughts on it.
Look at the value of Brock Lesnar compared to Naomi and Sasha Banks put together. And there's your answer. He's the money grabber.
That's still not right.
It's not right. It's not. I'm not justifying shit, but that's just the answer. That's unfortunately the fucking truth. That's the ugly truth about the entire thing. He is super fucking valuable, and changing a last minute big fucking pay-per-view build-up out of nowhere would be fucking infantile. Where Sasha and Naomi did it, they were starting a build somewhere. They were starting a story.
But here's another thing Danny forgot to mention.
I'm not justifying shit, by the way.
With Michael Cole, when CM Punk quit, Michael Cole was on commentary basically as well, calling CM Punk a quitter, this and that. And around the time, I would say CM Punk was a pretty big name.
Yeah, he was in the prime of his career at that point.
So now with CM Punk, my thoughts, on his, second run, it's been incredible to see because of what you said, Ben, the passion. He lost his love for the business towards the end of his WWE run. He friggin' had to put guys like Roman Reigns over. But
Ryback.
One that really stands out is Ryback.
Yeah, say Ryback.
What happened with that situation.
More!
And, the thing is, with CM Punk...
I see you, motherfucker.
It's just crazy to see, what happened. Because it was really sad at the time. What happened at the time. And, I never really thought that he was ever going to come back to the sport. And for him, dude, to come back to AEW in his hometown, one of the most emotional, best freaking moments, I think, in the last decade.
His return was definitely
awesome.
Matched to Edge's. 100%. Those two returns were the biggest pops in terms of distance in between, the business, that were the most successful and the most thriving. I will say Edge's booking has been better, but in terms of return and pop and effect, it was the same. Bless you, by the way, Donnie.
I wouldn't necessarily say that. I mean,
I'd say neck and neck.
That's what I'm saying, neck and neck, 100%.
The story between Punk and MJF, I mean, that was fucking
100%. But I'm just talking about overall in general.
Yeah.
Edge's run has been more successful in terms of booking and storytelling.
Part of me
recently.
Part of me wants to say and agree that Edge's return was fantastic. A lot of people talked about it, but I feel like the most talked about return had to be CM Punk, just because of some of the remarks he made and him being like, "Oh, fuck wrestling," all this. He said all kinds of crazy stuff, and then he finally returns. I mean, he had the most talked about wrestling moment of the last decade. And then Vince McMahon comes out with these fucking, these payments and these fucking hush money. And Vince McMahon was like, "Fuck you, Punk." He screwed him again.
From the spotlight. Yeah.
But here's the thing. I got to kind of side with Danny a little bit on this one. Yes, Edge's return was awesome. It was, one of the most memorable returns in the last decade. But because of the context with CM Punk, I gotta side with Danny a little bit on that, because with CM Punk, I feel like he's been definitely booked a little bit better than Edge. I just think, the MJF feud is the best feud in AEW, and I think the best feud in the last fucking 20 years. If I'm being, no, not 20 years, 10 years.
I was like, yes, you might want to take that back, motherfucker.
10 years. In the last 10 years, CM Punk and MJF has probably been one of the best feuds.
I was going to say, in the past 20 years, you realize that Undertaker was still a full-time gig at the time, right? And he had some of the best classics.
No, the last 10 years. I apologize.
Undertaker and Edge had one of the best feuds of like 2008, 2007, somewhere around there.
Absolutely, dude. That, and again, and those are the two fucking goats, bro. Like,
remember when fucking Edge kidnapped Paul Bearer and started that episode of SmackDown?
Yeah.
But that's the thing, like with CM Punk, it's great to see him back, and it's also great to see Edge, and I feel like this is another guy we have to talk about because Edge, went from being retired because of his neck to
I wanted to save
back.
that for towards the end anyway, so it's kind of good.
No, I got a better one for the end.
Okay. Yeah, so as we know, even before even up to the point when he retired, Edge was already a solidified legend. He was already, he already did his dues at that point. Like, the fact that we have him today is a complete different story. I didn't see him being a part of it today, even if he didn't retire when he did. So the fact that we get him on our screens, getting him in main events, seeing him in the shape that he's in today is ridiculous because he's in the best shape of his fucking life, dude.
Like, I actually showed you the Celtic Warrior workouts where he was mountain biking with Sheamus and he fucking fell and he was like, "Bro, I think I'm good." Like,
and he took a nasty fucking scrape and he was just like, "Yeah, I'm good."
I did see that. I did see that thing with Edge
because that was what got his fucking gears rolling. He's like, if I can take that fucking wipeout and bounce right back up, he's like, I wonder what else I can do. And then he got cleared. And that is fucking like I still to this day watch the second mountain. We owe to this day.
We owe a lot to Sheamus, to be honest, because I don't think if it wasn't for that particular episode, I don't think Edge probably wouldn't even took the risk. But because that happened organically, it got his brain moving a little bit and trying to figure this out.
And Edge is very notorious, and he's stated it himself that if there's a what if, he has to crush it. He has to, and to be invited, basically welcomed organically back into the house of what he loves, and to be able to end his career on his terms is fucking phenomenal because this guy has been medically disqualified from ever doing this again for the past 9 fucking years. And he's back. He's going on 3 years in his second run.
And it's
always good when sorry for cutting you off, Danny, but
it's all good, man.
It's always good when the wrestler can decide when they want to end their career.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's not like being medically disqualified. So for Edge to, bounce back like that, especially from a really serious neck injury.
Yeah, he could have been paralyzed for life.
And everybody's saying how stupid he is for, he was upset that he retired. He was a world champion. Like, he had everything that he ever wanted to. But the whole thing is he retired, but not by choice. He was forced to.
Just like Daniel Bryan and Paige.
I think Edge needs to end his run in his career as world champion and drop the belt and walk.
Wasn't he the last one to have the big gold belt and then they retired it after that and they brought
shortly after, yeah. He was one of the final ones because Del Rio had the big gold title for his run.
Well, no, after Edge retired it, Christian fought Alberto and won.
Yeah, he had the belt for what, 2 weeks?
Dude, Alberto Del Rio is fucking garbage. But anyways, continue.
He is one of the biggest dickheads I ever fucking met. Continue.
What about Dustin Rhodes?
Look at my woman, or we will have a match at WrestleMania. Sorry.
And he's never going to be in AEW or WWE ever again. So the Del Rio marks, I'm sorry.
Listen.
He's never coming back on TV.
It's not Del Rio. It's El Patron. Sorry.
Ricardo Rodriguez has more fucking more charisma than him. Continue.
Hold on. Before we continue, can I just talk about Ricardo Rodriguez and talking about how fucking, just genuinely confused I was to find out that his Mexican accent is a lie?
What do you mean?
He does not have a Mexican accent, bro. He sounds like me. I'm like, what the fuck? I felt so lied to. Anyways, continue.
I'm going to have to go on Google and do some research.
You're going to be blown the fuck away. You're going to be blown the fuck away.
Rene Dupree's podcast, he was just talking on it in a recent interview.
Oh my god, I don't even want to talk about Rene Dupree's podcast right now because I'm going to be sucked into the weird part of the internet. But another fucking good return, second run I want to talk about is
Bro.
what? What
When
the
Vince
fuck is so
McMahon
funny?
when Vince McMahon retired, right? Renee posted on Twitter, she was like, "You think he'll come on my podcast?" Then somebody commented underneath it and was like, "I think oral sessions is the reason why this is happening."
Oh my god.
And it's funny because during like all that news broke out and everything, fucking he had a fucking podcast episode with that dude Justin and Paul London again, and fucking Renee was like, "Hey, do you like my mug, Paul?" And it was a fucking mug of Tally from South Park, and he was like, "Oh, is that fucking Tally?" He was like, "Oh, but hey, do you like my Vince McMahon shirt?" And it was a Predator fucking shirt from like the original movie Predator.
Oh
He was
my
like, "You like my Vince
God.
shirt?" I was
Yo,
fucking
here's the
dying,
thing,
bro.
I just want to put that out there about Rene Dupree, and then we can continue. I actually kind of enjoy his podcast or his shoot podcast, but he needs to get a better set because his room may be a little messy.
Bro, messy
Our
depressy, my nigga.
Our quality on the We Are Wrestling talk show is better than freaking Cafe de Rene.
Dude, it is so atrocious. I'm like, bro, and it's like he's on his phone half the time, and then half the time he's like, hold up, he's like, "Hey, Paul, what about you, man? What about you, bro?"
Yeah, he doesn't
Hey,
even give a fuck. That's the funny thing.
I'm like, bro, you are way too fucking close to your goddamn.
Bro, we should
fucking
try and
mic. I
get on
love
his
you,
show,
Renee.
man.
Bro, I love him, but I'm like, dude, come on.
I do
man.
love
Like,
the Rene Dupree
I love the Renee fucking
podcast.
Cafe de Renee. I love it, but I'm like, bro, you are way too close to your fucking webcam.
But it's
my
like,
guy.
no, what he needs to do is watch like one of those like YouTuber for beginners and like get lights, get a decent camera or webcam, and actually like have a decent set.
No, 100%.
Instead
Like, dude,
of being
I
in a dark
literally, it's
room.
like, I have a wall full of fucking pictures and shit, and a shelf of Funkos. Danny has his fucking shelf of nerd shit behind him, and then you have your
My
shelf
little
of nerd
ghost
shit.
face, man.
So, basically, the key to a successful podcast is shelves, nerd memorabilia, LEDs, a webcam, ring light, and a microphone. That's it.
So another person that I would definitely like to talk about before we get into our main event here for this week on the We Are Wrestling Talk Show, I would love to talk about Christian Cage. He, you know, has had a second chance pretty much because he had to retire from concussions.
Yep. Sort of the same deal that Bryan Danielson had to go through.
And Edge.
Yep. Well, Edge wasn't so much as concussions. It was more like his neck, but...
Mm-hmm. But here's the thing about Christian's run. The one thing I don't understand about this, you know, redemption, he made his return at the Royal Rumble.
And then
With
jumped
Ed.
ship to fucking AEW.
It was in, 2021, right?
Yeah, 2021 Royal Rumble right after he went to AEW. And he was like the fucking
Well, before
Joker.
AEW, he went to the Rumble.
Yeah, that
was
was
his
his
first
in-ring
comeback.
return. Yeah, it was his
Yeah.
in-ring return was at the fucking Rumble. And that was an emotional moment.
That was an awesome moment. The fact that he freaking went on to like Final Four, I was confused on like why Christian showed up on AEW. Like, I really don't understand why WWE did not sign Christian back. They could have done so much.
This actually kind of organically goes into the point that I actually wanted to talk about, and you guys might actually agree with this because it is kind of a fact. I feel like neither of Christian's runs were necessarily needle movers or exactly prosperous, and a lot of people didn't take him seriously as world champion, is because unfortunately Edge fell through the same curse that Matt Hardy did, where he was the least pretty and the least favorite of the two. And unfortunately, Vince McMahon didn't see a lot in either of them.
Stone Cold,
and he fell into that fucking unfortunate curse that really hindered his career moving forward.
Yeah, but Christian's a creepy little bastard, man.
Of course, but at the same time, he's an amazing talent, but he fell into that curse, which unfortunately really watered down any kind of push and any real crafting for his character. It was just kind of given up on him too quickly, and it's really unfortunate.
I'm sorry, but if there's anybody in WWE history that's been fucked the most, it's got to be Christian.
Absolutely.
This man in 2005 betted on himself, went to TNA as Christian Cage, and had one of the best main event runs in his career, winning the NWA World Title and, putting on classics. He was the instant classic, and then went to WWE. He had a great run in ECW, but it doesn't get talked about because everybody missed the old ECW, then the newer one. And then, he had the freaking, one more match with Randy Orton, and he wasn't taken serious enough.
Yeah, I feel like Christian's like AEW transition, AEW debut is the most awkward fucking debuts on the planet.
I agree. His debut was great when he made his arrival at, I believe it was Revolution. He made his debut there in 2021.
He outworks everybody. This motherfucker was blown up 10 minutes into the match.
And then they pretty much paired him up with, Jurassic Express as like a manager. They really weren't doing anything with him at all until his heel run. Now, it was, I thought it was a huge, like,
I will say his heel run in AEW right now is some of his best work in general. And that's what I was going to get into. It's compelling as fuck, dude. Like, he is a sports entertainer that really went to the pro wrestling world again and really researched it in terms of making you feel. And Christian has really captured that in this heel run.
And I think that this is going to elevate Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus at long term.
Jungle Boy is already super fucking over with the crowd. So the fact that return was genuinely good, I don't think Luchasaurus's heel run is over, considering he already has a brand new theme song and everything. I think eventually he will turn on Jungle Boy. Because here's the thing. He may have let fucking Jungle Boy go after Christian, but he didn't necessarily fucking stop him. He didn't necessarily go after Christian either.
Long-term storylines.
Exactly.
That's the thing about AEW that makes it exciting.
Because Jungle Boy does have promise to eventually move up the card, 100. But I am so fucking curious about a heel turn from fucking Luchasaurus and a fucking singles run from him. He is fucking gnarly. I would love to see it. I dig the new attire too, the all black fucking everything, dude.
I love the new Luchasaurus.
And
that's why when he came back with Jungle Boy, I was freaking pissed.
Bro, top fucking, like, dude is built like a main eventer, bro. Push him. Even as a fucking heel, push him.
He can move in the ring too, really good.
I don't even watch AEW like that, dude, but fucking push him. 100, because maybe I will fucking tune in, dude. Holy shit.
Imagine Christian goes back. Tune in.
Imagine Christian Edge or Christian goes back to WWE and he teams up again with Edge and they have one last run as a tag team.
I don't see it happening.
Not happening. Christian has already tried coming back to WWE. It didn't pay off. Now he is, going to continue doing what he's been doing.
Yeah,
I'm saying this now.
He came back to WWE with Vince in charge.
I'm going to say this now.
Triple H is more worried about younger talent.
It's not going to work out anyways because, quote me, we have maybe like 2 years left with Edge. 2 years. That's all I give it left. 2 years left. Easily. Like, there's enough gas in the tank, but you don't want to wear the fuck out of your body as you're approaching 50, especially with the fucking surgeries he's had.
I think
he's going to want to stop before he starts to wear out.
Well left. And I feel like Christian's going to end his run as Christian Cage
in AEW.
And
I don't think he's going to
utilized more.
And I don't see him going back to WWE until the Hall of Fame for his induction with Edge and Christian.
Just exactly. I 100% agree. But that's one person at WWE has really fumbled. And I know a lot of people pick Edge over Christian. I'm actually one of the opposites. I have always been a bigger fan of Christian than I was for Edge.
See, I'm the exact opposite, 100%.
No, and I totally get why like people like Edge more than Christian.
Edge is my favorite superstar of all time, so it's kind of speaking from bias.
But here's the thing, man. With Christian, like, it's great to see him at least, come back and have this run right now as a heel. And I hope, he continues to stay as a heel and keep, developing some of these younger talent in AEW.
Ben needs one of those autographed Edge Funko Pops for his back that are at Zombie Hideout.
I have an Edge Funko Pop. I just need fucking assigned one.
So the main event for the We Are Wrestling Talk Show this week, since we're talking about second chances, redemption, the one person that definitely stands out to every We Are Wrestling maniac out there, Shawn fucking Michaels.
The Heartbreak Kid.
One of the Mount Rushmores of wrestling, easily.
Absolutely, man.
The rivalry that he had with Bret Hart back in the day, man.
But honestly, like, not even just talking about like rivalries, but like when it comes to his second chance, he really changed as a human being coming into his second run. He got over his addictions. He got over. He found
became a
God.
born again Christian. I think
he found God. He repackaged himself. Like, he was still the same Shawn Michaels, but it was definitely a more positive and a more authentic Shawn Michaels.
Yep.
And it forwarded a lot of storylines, and it really resurged his career because, Shawn at the time had a huge fucking attitude problem as well backstage, and always had heat because people were just his fucking friend. He was kind of fucking awful, honestly. He was just super cocky. He was riding on fucking just pure ego. So his second run was really a redemption arc.
Yep. Motherfucker.
But yeah, I feel like Shawn Michaels just honestly had like a really bad attitude problem, and he really changed all around, like even just not only character wise, but also definitely a whole 180 in terms of who he was as a person.
And I think that's like the best thing out of this whole thing. I know, even like his friends, his peers, have said it. The best thing about Shawn's second run was the person, he became through it. Like, he definitely had a big attitude problem backstage. He, caused lots of drama, lots of conflicts. And to see him come back with a whole new attitude, not really caring about like losing matches and stuff and like how he was booked, it was, a fresh of fresh air.
I feel like his best run, like of this like redemption story, has to be between 2002 and like 2006.
Absolutely,
like that little time period.
That was the prime of his second run. Absolutely,
exactly.
But I can't exclude his fucking now legendary rivalry with the Undertaker.
Oh, absolutely.
And that was long-term storytelling at its finest. Those two tore the fucking house down multiple fucking times.
I remember I remember they were in a casket match, and Shawn Michaels got back body dropped outside of the ring, and he landed spine first on the edges of the casket.
That was what started his injury. That's what started his downfall. That was the moment, bro, was during that match with Taker. And that
it didn't
was
help
what
with
did
all the addiction that he had too around the time.
Yeah, because then painkillers became a thing, and
you have to think about it, bro. Like, busting your ass to get this kind of opportunity, whatever, being handed loads of money, fucking women, fucking, coming at you from all which way. I mean, it is very easy to fall into bad habits, especially when you're at that level. Because nobody was bigger, especially in the late 90s. There's nobody bigger than fucking Shawn Michaels. You know what I mean? I feel like at that time.
Heartbreak Kid.
Dude was fucking killing it, dude. Like, it just, it was almost, it really began to get really, heartbreaking towards the end, because you can tell not only was he in pain, but dude just needed help, and he needed a fucking break. Like, dude was on fumes by the end of his first run, dude. Like, that dude needed a vacation. And you have to remember,
too, during the new generation, when WCW was kicking WWE's ass in the ratings, Shawn Michaels was their champion around that time. He was carrying the weight of the WWF around that time.
Yeah.
Remember when DX invaded WCW?
WCW, the wrestling.
Shawn Michaels wasn't a part of that.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he was.
He was.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was.
No,
yeah, he was. Yes, he was. He was there.
No, he was not.
Yes, the fuck.
That was the new. That was the DX with Road Dogg, Billy Gunn, and X-Pac.
Nope. Pulling that up right now. Pulling it up right now. Hold up. Hold up.
And if I'm wrong, I will admit it.
WCW.
China, they're all in it but Michaels, because this is around the time where, at the times, he would make appearances and do, Commissioner Shawn, but he was not doing the DX stuff. After Mania, that's when he, transitioned.
I was wrong.
Oh! Isn't that right?
I was
You,
wrong.
Danny, you were bandwagoning as well. I want to hear
Hey,
it. Donnie
I
was
was
right.
not.
Are you actually shocked that I'm admitting that I'm wrong?
I'm not shocked with you, but
I was
Danny,
saying,
I saw you nodding your head saying,
Yeah, see,
what are you talking about, Donnie? Huh?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Your shit is so spot on. I love moments like
Wait,
this.
wait,
I
talking
I
try-
about-
don't under, bro. This dude's knowledge for this shit
Bro.
is fucking insane, bro.
Shawn
Yeah, dude.
Michaels was a part of that, bro.
Yeah, bro.
You know why it's all spot on? Because I'm a wrestling fucking mark.
You fucking Mark! Fire me!
But that's the thing, like, with Shawn Michaels, it's crazy to see, like, the matches that he even put on in this second run. WrestleMania 21 versus Kurt Angle. I know we talked about that a little bit
think-
on, the...
I honestly
one of
think
the
he put on some of his most daring matches as well. Like, I mean, you look at WrestleMania 22 against Vince McMahon, that 40-foot ladder elbow drop straight through the fucking table and onto a fucking trash canned McMahon and crushed that shit. I have to give it to McMahon too. He really held it for being his age, but like his shape was incredible. But that dude
was the
can take a
best Vince
fucking bump,
McMahon
dude.
match probably he ever had.
That was,
Can't-
and that was the
we-
most extreme Vince McMahon match we've ever fucking seen.
We can't talk about that run of Michaels without talking about, and it's very fitting, seeing as what happened on Sunday, the retirement match, him and Ric Flair.
That super kick was a super kick heard around the world that night, man.
That was a iconic moment.
That should have been Ric Flair's retirement match. Like, he should have just stopped right there. That was the epitome of, in the middle of the ring, WrestleMania, got to hang up his boots.
That was the
biggest
perfect
ovation.
retirement for somebody. You're going
Ric
against
Flair
Mr.
is a
WrestleMania
fucking
himself.
Ric
At
Flair's a money
WrestleMania.
drip, dude. Like, this dude literally came out of retirement recently just to get some fucking money because he fucking got jealous of freaking Stone Cold's, like, resurgence match.
Mermaid Man. That's what he looked like in his final match.
He fucking sounds like him, too.
Bro, it was cool, and that I will say, like, if you're a wrestling fan, you gotta watch this show. I mean, you had DDP coming out and fucking,
Call an ambulance.
you had Diamond Dallas Page, fucking
Diamond
Yeah,
Dallas
well-
penis?
That was freaking, you know how Ric Flair
Boner
calls
cutter?
himself the dirtiest player in the game? Well, that was the most dirtiest thing that you could do is fucking freaking try to have a final match that wasn't after Mania 24.
Bro,
Yeah,
did
that's
you
who we
hear
gotta
Karen-
end it out with. That's
Did
what we
you
have to
hear-
end it with. That's what we gotta end it with. That's what we gotta end it with. Shut the fuck up, Danny.
Did you-
That's what we. Shut the fuck up, Danny. Shut the fuck up, Danny. Shut the fuck up, Danny.
Did you
Anyway,
hear?
Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck.
Did
Shut
you
the
hear
fuck up,
Karen
Danny.
Jarrett?
Shut the fuck up.
Did you hear Karen Jarrett? Don't
No, I
fucking.
did not hear Karen Jarrett.
Tell-
I did not watch the Ric Flair thing. I was not paying the money to watch fucking Mermaid Man wrestle.
I watched it.
I could watch an episode of SpongeBob.
But fucking hearing Ric Flair's daughter and fucking like pulling fucking Karen Jarrett's hair, and then Karen being like, "I'm gonna kill you, you fucking bitch." She was like full blown said that. I was like, is that real or is that a fucking work?
But I do kind of want to end it on talking about Ric Flair's second run, I guess you could say.
Oh
Which
my
would
God.
be this retirement match, which was absolutely horrible. Because if you look close enough, you can see his depends right underneath his trousers, son. It was absolutely fucking horrible. You could see the diaper through the fucking trousers, bro. Like it was god fucking awful. Like none of it
Why
said
would
Nature Boy.
Why would you put that out there? Why are you doing that to the Nature Boy, dude?
Because he's not the Nature Boy, dude. That was the Nature Boy's grandfather that was wrestling that night, dude. Like that was literally Nature Boy's granddad. That was literally Father Nature. That was not the Nature Boy. That was Father Nature. Father Nature, 100%. Not the fucking Nature Boy. He was rocking the fucking Depends. Guarantee he had a catheter in his fucking shirt. His fucking man boobies were like the man rays. Ridiculous. Dude had a fucking heart attack like a year and a half ago, and he was like, "Evil!" and put the fucking tights on over his underoos.
Come on,
and
the
fucking
heart
tried
attack
to
thing's
sell it.
not funny.
It's not funny. I'm just saying that's why he should not have been in the fucking ring. You cannot give the same performance you could have. If you're wearing Depends in a fucking ring, listen, if you're wearing a diaper in the middle of a wrestling ring, you should not be in the middle of it because you're shitting your pants every bump you take. Every bump you take, every shit I break.
Yo, when Ric Flair goes to do the chop,
I take every part I break, I'll be shitting my pants. That's basically Ric Flair.
I will say.
Ric Flair during his match, yo, when he would do the chops, he would go, instead of going, woo, he would go.
Like, he'd shart every single time he chopped because he clenched his cheeks, but it would actually erupt like a fucking ass volcano.
I will say, even though the match was a disaster,
and Ric Flair was spraying. Ric Flair shit on a bitch.
They couldn't have picked better people for him to be in the ring with.
Ric Flair drip go on a bitch. Ric Flair shit go on a bitch. $1 million turd go on a bitch.
I'm sure his last match as Mermaid Man was a lot better than matches that he did in fucking TNA because those were fucking disasters. Him and Hulk Hogan.
Well, if someone's granddad showed up to work drunk as fuck, yeah, they would be horrible fucking matches. Are you serious?
Dude, him and Hulk Hogan fucking wrestled on TNA.
Well, if you fucking slur through your entire promo, nobody's gonna be excited for the match. You'd be like, I just gratify. Don't
get me wrong. I love Ric Flair. I love the Nature Boy, but for him to,
he's Father Nature.
But for him to try to like bounce back and like try to have a better final match than what Shawn Michaels gave him in 2008, to me, even in his TNA matches, I couldn't even watch. Or even this last match he did. Because he had the perfect last match. He had the perfect retirement match against Shawn Michaels.
It was actually genuinely bittersweet. It was emotional. It genuinely made you feel. And I feel like that was genuinely the last Ric Flair match that made you feel anything was his retirement match in WWE.
I will say, even though the match was somewhat of a disaster, he couldn't have been put in there with any better people than Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett.
Jeff Jarrett was an amazing dude. Fucking Jeff Jarrett was in amazing shape. Fucking shape, dude.
Bro, he came out looking like the biggest heel in the fucking business, bro. And he made fucking Ric Flair look like $1 billion, man.
Yeah, dude, I believe it. But before we end this off, I do want to give one more honorable mention. I know it was kind of cut short a little bit, but he'll be back. I want to mention Cody Rhodes' second run in WWE.
I do got to give, Flair some respect for actually, going out there in wrestling. I know he had the best retirement match, possible for Shawn Michaels, but for him to be 73 years old, coming off a heart attack, almost 5 years ago, and to do this, for a promotion that, he did work for before, WCW and WWE, I got to respect Flair for at least going out there and trying. Even though I don't agree with his, reasons why he did it, because, Shawn Michaels, he had the perfect retirement match there, but I do got to respect Flair for actually going out there and trying. Even though it was a watered down version of Ric Flair. But let us know in the comment section below what you guys think about, some of the best redemption stories. Maybe we'll do a part 2 to this eventually down the line. Absolutely. But if you guys enjoyed this week's episode of the We Are Wrestling Talk Show, make sure to smash that like button now. If you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already, and you're not a part of the thousands of subscribers, the best way to support us is by hitting that subscribe button now, turning on the post notifications. The links are down in the description below. You can go follow all of us except for Danny. All the links will be down below. And of course, to all the We Are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide, we are taking over. Peace.